Okay, welcome Sisam Didi. So Incubate Nepal 2023 we're kicking off our चाँडै नै अनि we wanted to know more from the organizers perspective about their experiences at Incubate Nepal, and not just at Incubate Nepal but their personal journey, like कसरी they ended up where they are right now. अनि it was like we wanted to talk to you because हजुरको के भन्ने हो, like हजुरको history was very interesting to us. So let's start like Incubate नेपालमा चाहिँ हजुर कहाँबाट आइपुग्नुभयो? How did you end up joining Incubate Nepal?
Yeah, thanks for having me and inviting me for this podcast. It's my first podcast, so it's very exciting. Yeah, I mean, I guess most of the organizers I met during college. I went to MIT, and they're my friends from MIT and Harvard. And during COVID, they started this thing called Incubate Nepal, and I wasn't there for the first year, but I was just really happy to see that someone was working in this space, especially like, people I know about, and I know like they would do a really good job. But yeah, I just heard about it, and then the next year they were looking for mentors and reached out. So of course I said yes, and yeah, mentored at Incubate Nepal for 2 years in computer science projects, and then this year I'm taking a organizer role. Yeah.
By the way, like, can you briefly like talk about हजुरको past projects like Incubate Nepalको, the one that you mentored?
Yeah, the projects that I've mentored have been focused around computer science with some background in architecture and art, because that really interests me as well. Yeah, I guess one project, our project that I really enjoyed working on was called Art Hub Nepal in 2019, I believe. And yeah, like Art Hub Nepal was just a project. It's like a web-based map project that helps people locate Nepali public artworks. We created a database of local paintings and murals, street artworks that weren't really that popular or that you see around in your neighborhood and no one really recognizes it as an artwork. We just wanted some place that these works of art could be in the internet, because it's not really documented that well.
Art of Pani, it's related to art. Ani 2022 ko team Samrakshana ko project Pani was into art history and all. Like, were you into art history sculptures or paile bato, or do you have like keen interest on it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like when I was in high school, that was one of the main things that I really did. Yeah, I was really interested in art during that time. Not so much during college because I was so busy, but I think when I started Incubate Nepal, I just really wanted to, use my knowledge about computer science, of course, but also tie that in with my interest in art. Yeah, during high school, I participated in like a lot of art-based projects, went to a pre-college for illustration, which was like a 3-month summer program just doing art, which was really, really fun. I applied and got into local art exhibitions for museums. Yeah, so I dedicated a lot of time to doing art in high school, and yeah, it's been really fun to kind of, start my passion for art again in Incubate Nepal.
I did a major in computer science, I know, and you are really interested into art. So, what do you enjoy doing? Okay, computer science ko kam or software ko kam garda रमाइलो लाग्छ कि into art garda रमाइलो लाग्छ?
Yeah, I think now, because it's such a habit, I really do just enjoy working on software projects. But when I work on, Incubate, it's kind of like my joy outside of work. So I can really just without constraints, put a lot of effort into a project that maybe I've thought of but don't have enough time for. And I also try to think about the applicants, like what would the students be interested to work on.
हजुर
Because yeah, I just I think I would be really interested in a project like Art Hub or Samrakshana when I was in high school. So that's kind of what I'm catering some of my projects like to my younger self. Um, yeah,
Definitely,
I
like some
mhm.
Rachanako projects, I also really enjoyed hearing Banam Narule Garrako, or even when I saw the final project showcase. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, and yeah, I think another part of like just artwork is that it's so prolific in Nepal. Like when I went to Nepal, you just see artwork everywhere. There's temples, around every corner. And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people don't recognize that and don't view that as art because it's so common.
yep
And that is what kind of, it's not just about art, but also about like conservation and appreciating like beautiful
हजुर
things we have available to us.
Yeah, sounds.
exactly
Yeah. Also, you are now an organizer and you mentored twice in Incubate Nepal. So, what is the feeling to mentor the students, and what is the feeling being an organizer of Incubate Nepal? Because Incubate Nepal is has been doing really great, Ani, to be a part of to be a part directly भनौँ न, as an organizer. So how does it feel, and how did it feel to be a mentor?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, it's my first year of joining the organizing team. Um, and I think with the experience of, being a mentor for 2 years, um, I think it's helped me a lot, like especially in the role that I am in right now, which is the mentorship lead. So this role, like, it allows me to recruit mentors for this year and work with new mentors to brainstorm and improve on their project ideas. So we can have like a great selection of projects for this year's applicants. So my past experience of being a mentor, it's really helped in this role because I can pinpoint different things that good mentors should probably have because yeah, it's a lot of work being a mentor, but it's totally like worth it. Um, but it does take a certain type of person, I think, to do the job well.
yeah to ask more on that like हजुरकै आफ्नो एक्सपिरियन्समा पनि like what does an ideal mentor or like a competent mentor look like in Quebec Nepal
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of good answers to that. But I would say the main factor that I think me and all the organizers are looking for is someone who just really wants to help the students. Of course, it's about working in a project, and we have like lots of different projects, so it's hard to say like you have to be good at this type of technical skill. But I think if someone is patient and truly wants to help and be involved in the success of their students, that's kind of what I'm looking for. It's kind of like the intangibles of a person that we try to look for when we find a good mentor. Not only just their
I completely agree with your good mentor huनुको importance के, because like like you said, like actually help गर्न मन पराउने mentor like really adds on to mentorship के. Like during our time pani, our mentor was really helpful, like he wanted us to grow rather than to complete the project. So I think that went really well with our team. Yeah, I completely agree to you.
yeah हाम्रो पनि त्यस्तै थियो like working with Yasim Rai, it was a very wonderful experience. Not just like learning like engineering मात्रै or like the project मात्रै भन्दा पनि just overall नै how to work on त्यसपछि how to collaborate अनि how to lead एउटा team. Like he really did a good job of showing that to us. अनि
Yes.
like our project was very tough honestly, like for me as well, किनभने मेरो त्यस्तो past experience थिएन मेकानिकल इन्जिनियरिङमा. तर यसिम दाई would always be there like helpful. अनि लाइक केही प्रब्लम पऱ्यो भने he'd be there with his smile, like always
Right.
always yeah okay ल ठिक छ इन्जिनियरिङमा प्रब्लम आउँछ अनि we figure out solutions यसरी यस्तो यस्तो हुन्छ it's nothing to worry about, like it's a step in learning process भनेर like भन्दाखेरि it was very के भने comforting अनि
Yep.
we really
Yeah,
wanted
true
to
that.
work for him, okay? Like work for him भन्दा पनि we didn't want to let him down.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
Same with our case, like Sir Dai was our mentor, and he was always with a smile. Like I never saw him with an angry or pissed off face. Now we used to make a
Yeah.
lot of mistakes. We didn't finish the task on time, but he was always a smile. So we wanted to
Yeah.
do more when, if not for us, we wanted to do for him. Okay, in that case. So yeah, it
Right.
was.
Yeah. I think that's what a good leader is in general.
Um,
You lead by example, and yeah, I mean, teachers have like, I wouldn't say mentors are specifically teachers because you guys really do all of the work as students.
exactly, yeah.
But yeah, we're just kind of, guiding and showing like some helpful things that you guys might come across. But
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
like to bring about one thing, है. I don't think like mentorको idea is very established नेपालमा. अनि
Yeah.
when I was particularly like मेरो केसमा चाहिँ when I was joining in Nepal, I thought like our mentor would be working with us or like they'd be the one that sort of like lead the project. तर it was very different experience यहाँ आउँदाखेरि. Like we were
Right.
the ones that were working and the mentors were just कस्तो भने नि like they would be like support system for us to work on building our ideas. Like
Yep.
they did not just work on their projects. And like I like to hear more about त्यो कुरा क्या like mentorship को idea. I think like can you clarify more on that, because Nepalमा I think we lack the context of like mentors. When we think of mentors, we usually tend to believe like they're the teachers, like उहाँहरूले गर्नुहुन्छ and like we learn from them भने जस्तो. तर it's very different experiences in Incubate Nepal नि.
Oh, for sure.
सारेको लेख्ने टाइपको कन्सेप्ट छ नि त हाम्रो त.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh no.
मेन्टरले गरेको प्रोजेक्ट हेर्ने टाइपको माइन्डसेट छ.
Oh, I think that's such a great point. Like, I think even in the US, I would say the idea of a mentor it is kind of hard to find unless you're in maybe specific circles. I think I had finally learned about, mentorship or having a mentor for like your journey or career, probably in college. Having older students to look up to and them kind of showing you, the way of how things are done and I really learned that only in college. So I think it's a hard concept to grasp in general. But yeah, I think we try to do a good job with mentorship in Incubate Nepal, and at least if not anything, introduce like these type of concepts to students in a crucial point in their life where they're trying to do so many things, like trying to figure out what they really like, what they like to work on, what type of career they want, what colleges they want to apply to. So yeah, like it's a pretty vague and large scoped idea of mentorship. It can be anything you really need it to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like mentor भन्नाले like project मै मात्रै limited पनि हुनुपर्छ भन्ने छैन. Like Yasin and I usually like we still chat outside the project scope as well. Like
yeah, that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, and I think like to have a mentor like is like a guide who is like mature than us, and like just and like it's someone we can share our ideas to, and they help us cater our ideas according to our interests.
Yeah,
like, that could be one way like we like
I like
how a mentor could be defined.
Oh,
agree to that completely, Pratyush. Ani agi career ko कुरा आएको थियो ठ्याक्क, and I wanted to join in to the career that Sisam is in right now. You're into computer science and software development. Like there are a lot of students in Nepal in fact, like US apply गर्नेहरू मध्ये त 90% of the guys are into computer science these days. So
Yeah.
like what do you advise, or what do you suggest the students that are starting out the career that you are in right now?
Hmm. Yeah,
By the way,
I think
before that,
yeah,
like,
continue.
can you briefly talk, like, हजुर चाहिँ computer science मा कसरी involved हुनुभयो? Like, where did the interest come
Yep.
from?
Yeah, I think those are very related. Yeah, I think like I told you, I was interested in like lots of things in high school, and I think this is very relatable for most people. You know, as a, at least with all of my friends, we were all pretty unsure about exactly what we might want to do because there were, you know, lots of things. And I think the best way to kind of, you know, figure out what you specifically want to do is what I did. I just tried lots of different things. I went to, you know, like I went away to this college for a pre-college experience for art because I was like, maybe I want to, you know, do art in college. Like that was a serious option for me. But then after that, I realized, wow, this is a lot of work. Like, and I don't see myself enjoying this for doing this for 4 years. You know, lots of sleepless nights, like finishing up projects. I'm so glad that I did that. And then I think another summer I did a Girls Who Code project. It's like a summer program for 7 weeks. Yeah, I applied to this program and I got in and I got to work with a team and build a web-based project. And I think the project was like really simple. It was something like tracking your habits or tracking your homework, something like that, which was like really relatable for me as a 10th grader. And yeah, I just didn't even know that I could do something like this because my school didn't have a computer science class. So when I just tried this out, I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. It reminded me of art because I'm just like, oh, I can create things that I want by, you know, instead of like, let's say, drawing or painting, but yeah, programming, but also yeah, I think that was enough to just spark an interest in computer science for me. Not saying that, you know, all of computer science is just that one thing, like creating a project. Yeah, there's like more to computer science, which I eventually would find out. And I always liked math and science based things, but yeah, I didn't realize that I would like something like computer science because I wasn't really introduced to it at all. So I think I would just say as an advice, yeah, like especially before going to college or even in college, there's like times to figure out if this is really what you like to do and do you enjoy it? Do you find it fulfilling, even though like it's hard? Just because you like something doesn't mean it's gonna be easy all the time. But yeah, if this is something you can see yourself doing and be happy.
I really like the idea how you connected art or computer science. I mean software development. That you could create like art ma pani we create something out of our imagination, and software ma pani we create. I'm not really sure about what we do there, but we somehow create things on software.
Yeah.
Development.
Yeah, especially starting out, that's like a really elusive idea. To be able to create something like within a few hours, you know, it just makes you feel really accomplished. And yeah, I just always really liked learning new things. And when it takes like only a few hours to learn something and make something happen, it was really fulfilling. Like I really liked that feeling, and I continue to really enjoy like, you know, solving problems. And yeah, it just makes me really happy when you kind of figure out a solution to something and you can see something working just like the way you want it to.
Like मलाई चाहिँ एउटा कुरा सोध्न मन लागिहाल्यो हजुरलाई. So learning computer science, okay, I don't have any experience like learning computer science, but I'm just asking this thing in general. Like learning कुनै subject, for you it's computer science in undergraduate like college ma, ani working on त्यो field, like I assume it's very different नि किनभने त्यो लर्निङ लाइक यु लर्न इट थ्रु एउटा जेनरल सिस्टम जस्तो तर वर्किङ
Mhm.
लाइक वर्किङ अन द सेम फिल्ड यु माइट एक्सपिरियन्स अलिक लाइक डिफ्रेन्ट लेन्स अफ लुकिङ एट द सेम सब्जेक्ट नि हेज दिस ह्यापन टु यु
Oh yeah. Like, so the projects I would work on during the end of my college years, um, yeah, are very much like different to what I work in my job. But I think computer science is like one of those types of subjects where it really doesn't matter like what you're learning. You realize that what computer science basically is, it really teaches you how to learn. If you program in like for example, I started programming at MIT in Python and then eventually to Java. But then, during my work, I use C#. So it's not like I needed to learn from scratch, how C# works. It's just all of those. You realize that the fundamentals are the same and you can just pick it up really quick. It really doesn't, it's not very specific to, like one idea, what you learned in college. Like that really, I realized doesn't matter. What matters more is, problem solving skills. That's basically what you're learning when you're doing a lot of math and computer science. It's like you're just learning how to solve problems, and the problems can change, but you've developed a skill of how to solve new problems.
Okay. By the way, like हजुर अहिले केमा काम गरिरहनु भएको छ? Like, can you talk more about your work right now?
Yeah, currently I'm a software engineer at Microsoft. The thing I mainly work on right now in my team is performance optimization. Which is like something I maybe scratched a little bit in college. I didn't even learn that much in my college years about performance or optimization. But yeah, it's really problem solving, and the whole field of computer science is just, you can really just learn it on the internet, and especially when you're working. Like my teammates have been working in that field for over 20 years, so just learning from them.
हजुरले अघि हाई स्कुलको कुरा गरिरहनु भएको थियो. As far as I know, you did high school US मै है?
Yes.
Yeah, and so you shifted to the US at a pretty early age, जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. Like it's really interesting for me to hear from students or someone who moved to the US अलिकति अगाडि and grew some part of their life नेपालमै. So how was it just shifting to the US, and how old were you? Could you like take to the memory lane of your childhood or the shifting journey maybe?
Born in Nepal, and I moved to the US when I was in 4th grade. And I mean 4th grade, you remember, a lot of things, like you're old enough to remember. But yeah, I think I remember most of it, but as a kid, I was actually so much different than how I am right now. Like much more extroverted, and I was just like extremely extroverted as a kid. I think I was just so naive and like unaware of how things worked that I just moved to the US and I didn't really care. Like I just liked making new friends. I wasn't worried about changing schools or like changing countries, which like if you told me I have to do that now, I would be filled with anxiety. Like I don't think I could do that. But as a kid, I just find it so interesting that I didn't even care, and I just really enjoyed like moving schools and making new friends. And after moving to the US, I think weirdly, like I did really well in school, probably because, in Nepal, they teach you so much more advanced topics at the same age, like especially in math and science. I remember just like being so confused that other students didn't know like fractions or some kind of thing that they were just learning about, and I was like, oh, I already know that. um and yeah, like I think that's really like what I remember about, you know, my transition from the US, from Nepal to the US. um and yeah, I really liked just spending time in school, and I liked learning and studying. um
Pretty interesting, the US education system के
mhm.
मेरो दिदीको छोरी studied UKG LKG something नेपालमा, and then she took her daughter to US. अनि
Yep.
she already knew A for apple, B for ball and everything like that. And उता गएपछि चाहिँ they were teaching एउटा letter के A for 2 days के
Oh.
त्यसरी, and
Yeah.
she was like म त बल्ल ओमा पुगेँ भनेर हुन्थ्यो कि एक वर्ष क्लास सकिसकेपछि। या स्लो
Yeah.
प्रोसेस, बट फेरि त्यो चाहिँ अनि फेरि त्यो एन्ड बट त्यो वर्डहरू हुन्छ नि, त्यस्तो
Mhm.
वर्ड चाहिँ फेरि नर्सरीमै सिकाउने रहेछ, एन्ड फेरि एबिसिडी
Yeah.
चाहिँ कति पछिसम्म सिकाइरहने रहेछ। या सो इट्स रियली डिफरेन्ट
No.
त्यहाँ गएर चाहिँ।
It is. That's what yeah, like now reflecting back on it, I think when I was in Nepal, I wasn't like the smartest kid. I was probably above average. I remember doing well, like my parents were proud and stuff, but I definitely wasn't like, you know, top 5 in my school or something. But yeah, when I moved to the US, like everyone just thought I was really smart. And maybe that had like some effect of me wanting to continuing to do that. But I do think the American education system, yeah, it's kind of like exponential, whereas maybe in Nepal it's more linear. When you get to high school, like you learn, you know, like you have to learn so much at once. But when you're younger, they just like slowly make you learn, and you don't learn as much as you would in Nepal. But then, you know, like starting from maybe 7th, 8th grade, I remember like I had to really study, whereas in elementary school, I barely studied, and I would get like 100% on everything.
Yeah, although like मेरो personal experience मा चाहिँ the jump between like grade 10 सम्मको course in Nepal अनि like 11, 12 को was very vast.
True.
Yeah.
Not just like कस्तो 10 सम्म ओके सबै साइन्सको प्रब्लमहरु पनि एउटै खालको, like if I could memorize a few things, अनि म्याथको theoremsहरु like if I could memorize them सकिहाल्थ्यो, तर like 11, 12 मा there's a lot more problem solving, अनि at first like सुरुमा चाहिँ it felt such a discontinuous jump.
Right. No, I think, yeah, most people feel that way, because I think especially when you get to, you know, 10th, 11th grade, yeah, in the US at least, you can really pick how hard you want your subjects to be. It's more like lots of your math and sciences are elective. Like there's only a few math and science requirements, but you know, if you really are interested in those subjects and you want to go to a good college and stuff for that, yeah, you have the option of like, oh, I want to take college level math. Like, yeah, you can basically do that, and
yeah,
it's not as limiting.
Yeah, त्यो transition हुन्छ नि जुन 10 बाट 11, 12 मा. Even in my case, like अहिले पनि if somebody asks me 10 सम्मको questions, I can give the answer like right away. Okay, I don't have to revise it. तर 11, 12 मा यस्तो jump भयो, अनि त्यहीमाथि कोभिडले गर्दाखेरि मेरो 11, 12 को course त devastated के त्यो गाह्रो भएर पनि होला. I don't remember things राम्ररी, just त्यो चाहिराख्ने termsहरु मात्र याद छ के.
Yeah,
Vast difference.
For sure.
Also,
for me too, it's like अलिकति like it's उल्टो फेरि ठ्याक्कै. Like मलाई 9, 10 सम्मको सोधे भने चाहिँ I'll completely forget सबै कुरा, like आउँदैन होला. Maybe like class 10 के like let's say trigonometry or optional math को questions हरु, तर like 11, 12 को maybe because I'm just fresh off पनि I'm much more confident के. किनभने खै at least because I took A levels, अनि A levels मा there's अलिक कम memorization required, अनि
Mhm.
म चाहिँ त्यति याद गर्न गाह्रो हुन्छ क्या. And so once I understand some subjects or like मैले केही कुरा बुझेँ भने चाहिँ मलाई लाग्छ सजिलो हुन्छ. So I feel मलाई चाहिँ 9-10 honestly 11-12 भन्दा धेरै गाह्रो लाग्थ्यो.
Yeah, just wait until, you start working. You forget everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to like for my work sometimes I'll have to like do some kind of math like very rarely. I'll be like, I totally don't know how to do that and I need to look it up. But it's like something, I could probably do when I was in college. Yeah, just like you just don't use a lot of things on a regular basis, and yeah, it's kind of sad. I wish I could do a lot of the stuff I could during college.
It's about how you learn it पनि रहेछ कि त्यो 9-10 मा प्रफिट एन्ड लस सिम्पल इन्ट्रेस्ट कम्पाउन्ड इन्ट्रेस्ट थिङ्सहरू हुन्थ्यो म्याथ्समा होइन एन्ड आई वाज रियली इन्टु इट के अप्लाइड
हजुर.
म्याथमेटिक्स काइन्ड अफ थिङ भयो नि त. So I
That's
really
true.
liked that topic. त्यही भएर राम्ररी पढ्थेँ सबै पहिला टिचरले पढाउनु भन्दा अगाडि नै पढ्दै सक्थेँ एन्ड द्याट्स स्टिल इन माई माइन्ड के 11-12मा आई डोन्ट नो वाट इज द्याट फिजिक्स म्याथ्स गड डेरिभेटिभ्स एन्टी डेरिभेटिभ्स आउट अफ द वर्ल्ड कहिले काम नलाग्ने कुरा जस्तो. सो त्यही भएर बिर्सिसकेँ. सो इन्ट्रेस्ट लाएर पढ्नु इज इम्पोर्टेन्ट.
Very interesting. मलाई चाहिँ like I used to despise like profit and loss खालको म्याथ चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ कस्तो झ्याउ लाग्थ्यो.
Me too.
तर like calculus I loved calculus सुरुमा नै. And like I wanted to learn more theoretical stuff, not just like कस्तो भन्ने okay I'm side tracking अलिकति तर म्याथमा I usually like the way people think के कुनै प्रब्लममा अनि the way they approach एउटा problem, not just problem तर the way they define एउटा theorem or like एउटा problem statement or how people think in general, and I'm much more drawn towards that, like problem solving, not just skills but the way they have defined all of the systems in mathematics.
Yeah, for me I think the things I remember most is for some reason history. Like I will just remember random things I learned in, world history or US history. And I'm like, why do I know this? But then I forget to like, do basic calculus that I should know.
True. I also completely relate to Sisam Didi. Like, I remember त्यो 9-10 मा पढेको social studies को every topic हरू and अघि हिजो भर्खर पढाएको त्यो के अरे physics को formulas हरू हुन्छ नि force को formula के formulas हरू I don't remember that के.
Yeah, because I think did you have like an interesting social studies teacher? For me, I think that's what it was.
No, actually मेरो चाहिँ यस्तो छ like I'm not into त्यो physics and all रहेछ के. I have explored it right now. I love त्यो basic कुराहरू के basic भन्दा पनि just यो
introductory stuff.
Yeah, that kind of thing. त्यो physics को त्यो depth मा जान थालेपछि it's over for me.
Yeah.
That's
I understand. I understand that to some extent as well. Like I remember not being interested in physics when I had to take a harder physics class, and I was like, oh, I don't think this is for me. I'm gonna go back to the more easier one.
If I have the opportunity to go back to 11 and change my major, I would definitely change Olake because I have now explored that physics, chemistry, and advanced kind of mathematics is not for me.
Yeah, and I think like at least what I've noticed with a lot of the students that I've mentored is, a lot of students aren't sure, exactly what they want to do, because you kind of go through school and you learn what you're supposed to learn, but you probably don't have a lot of opportunities like Incubate Nepal to, explore outside of that. And I think like at least with the students I've mentored, I think they kind of really start to figure out, oh, okay, I think I really like this part of the project. I'm gonna focus more of my energy in coding this area because I find this to be so interesting. Or someone else will gravitate more towards like public speaking and like writing, and they're super like interested in that. And I'm like, I don't think it's that easy to figure out when you just go to school and you have to do
Yeah, yeah.
everything because you just have to do it.
Yep,
Agreed. अब
totally
मैले चाहिँ
agreed.
मेरो इन्क्युबेट नेपालकै कन्ट्याक्ट जोड्ने हो भने पनि मैले एप्लिकेसनमा मेन्सन गरेकै थिएन कि लाइक वाट इज माई इन्ट्रेस्ट भन्ने कुरा
Mhm.
अनि आई वाज प्लेस्ड इन इकोनोमिक्स ग्रुप एन्ड आइ एम
Oh,
रियली ह्याप्पी द्याट आई वाज प्लेस्ड
Yeah.
देयर के इन केस आई वाज प्लेस प्रत्युषको त्यो कुदाउमा गाडी बनाउने वेयर फिजिक्स वर्क आई वुड बी लस्ट देयर म
Maybe
हराउँथेँ
you would
एन्ड
figure out something, you know.
oh,
Maybe
yeah,
you would
yeah.
figure out, yeah.
Yeah, let me share my experience funny. Like I'm very into math, like theoretical kura, and made a complete incubate application, including the video, was just about a theorem that I really liked, Fourier transforms funny. Ani
Mhm.
अनि I really didn't like engineering है like मलाई मैले जहिले पनि
Yeah.
like math मनपर्छ भनेर मेन्सन गर्दाखेरि people ask me like will you be pursuing engineering पछि भनेर अनि like I always said no like engineering is not my thing भनेर तर like when I got into Incubate Nepal okay I got placed in a mechanical engineering project अनि I was a bit के भन्ने like math भएन जस्तो सुरुमा
Mhm.
but eventually like after working with Yasim Dai for like the 9 weeks होइन and working with my teammates on designing and त्यसपछि building things अनि not just limited to like mechanical engineering मात्रै तर त्यो सबैजनासँग चाहिँ मिलेर एउटा कुनै प्रब्लमलाई सल्भ गर्न भिड्ने जस्तो हुन्छ नि जस्तो लाइक
Yep.
हाउ डु डिजाइन एउटा कार अनि लाइक हाउ डु डिजाइन यस्तो यस्तो कुरा अर लाइक के गर्ने त कसरी यो डिजाइन लाइक हाउ डु इम्प्लिमेन्ट दिस डिजाइन इन्टु दिस लाइक यो पार्ट अफ द कार लाइक त्यो द्याट प्रोसेस वाज भेरी के भन्ने आई ओपनिङ टु मी के बिकज
Yeah.
लाइक इन्क्युबेट नेपाल जोइन नगरेको भए मैले I'd be very limited to lacking only math, but because because like I got an opportunity to work in a mechanical engineering project, like my views about engineering changed. Although I'm not like like pursuing engineering, but I'm open to it now. Okay.
No, yeah, I totally, yeah, I think Bibwashi, even if you got placed into a different project, even if it's, I mean, I think we do a pretty good job of not, placing like, we don't place like too badly where someone who's not interested in math or science, like we're not going to maybe put them in a mechanical engineering project. But even I think if you were in that in Pratyusha's team, I think you would figure something out. I think, maybe you'll figure out how much it costs to build something like this on a real scale or
what why I am saying is म हराउँथेँ because त्यो उनीहरूले प्रोजेक्ट सोकेस गर्ने बेला अर त्यो के अरे बाइविकली हाम्रो प्रेजेन्टेसन हुन्थ्यो नि त्यो बेला पनि दे युज टु युज द्याट टेक्निकल टर्म्स के
Oh yeah,
formula
I was
हालेर
confused
use
too.
this. Exactly, I was
Oh,
confused.
yeah.
यो G भनेको छ
Oh.
एक्सेलरेसनको कुरा गरेको छ and
But
त्यो
you learn it.
Yeah, like for the first 5 weeks, all of us were त्यस्तै के भन्नाले
Oh.
मेरो चाहिँ एक्सपिरियन्स पनि थिएन इन्जिनियरिङको अनि के हो छ क्या कसरी
Right.
अप्रोच गर्ने भनेर अनि लाइक द वे आई लर्न म्याथ इन स्कुल लाइक म्याथ इज भेरी लाइक एटलिस्ट मेरो लागि है मैले पढेको तरिकामा चाहिँ वाज भेरी लिनियर क्या लाइक यो छ यसरी तर इन इन्जिनियरिङ इट्स लाइक अल द भेरिएबल्स यु हेभ टु प्ले विथ एट वान्स अनि लाइक फर द फर्स्ट लाइक 5 weeks लाइक के हो लाइक बुझेन अनि त्यसपछि लाइक आफ्टर टकिङ टु यसिन दाई ओभर फोन कल एक दिन अनि लाइक सिरियसली लाइक दाई अब चाहिँ बुझाइदिनै पर्यो अब चाहिँ भएन आई ट्राइड तर नथिङ इज वर्किङ लाइक यो डिजाइन गर्न खोज्यो अनि इट मेसेस अप समथिङ यतातिर अनि लाइक यो गर्न खोज्यो यता यो मिल्दा छैन वाट डु आई डु भनेर भने अनि त्यसपछि इभेन्चुअली वी फिगर आउट द्याट आई वाज भेरी गुड विथ 3D डिजाइनिङ अफ द कार अनि त्यसपछि आई रियली पुस्ट अन द्याट पार्ट अनि my friends pushed on other parts and we figured it out eventually के like it wasn't like सबैजनाले एकैचोटि like ल आयो गरे खालको भन्दा पनि it was more of a learning experience.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what we want to at least try to give all of our students is, where place them in a team where obviously like the mentors will be always there to help, but they also feel like they can contribute in a meaningful way in some part. It doesn't have to be all the parts. And that's so important for when you start to work on teams, like not one person can't do everything. And yeah, you just get to learn about, how you can contribute to the team.
Yeah. But having said that, like the more I got involved in the like project itself, the more I took out of Incubate Nepal. Okay, भन्नाले सुरुमा if I was just
Mm.
like if I was just focusing on like मलाई के आउँछ अनि I do these things, त्यो भएको भए like I'd probably just research papers अनि त्यसपछि like already I just add on to what I already know भनेर जस्तो क्या. तर
Yeah.
because I got into the depth of the program, I learned new skills. भन्नाले like presentation मात्रै भनौँ न, how to prepare slides,
Yep.
or मार्केटमा प्राइस कसरी नेगोसिएट गर्ने सामान किन्दाखेरि, or like 3D designing software Fusion 360 जस्तो कसरी चलाउने, and like how do you coordinate with a team. Like the more I got involved in your project, like I learned more skills, okay? Not just the skills that I was
Right.
already like focused on, and I think that is super
Yes.
important as well.
Yeah, and I think that's like what I hear from most students actually. That yeah, they do figure out what they like, but I think that process of figuring out what you like, right? Like you get
Exactly.
to try all of the different aspects within the team, and you see how other people, might approach, right, like approach designing the same type of car, and you can learn so much from that, as well as someone might be really good at their public speaking skills. But I always made sure to like, involve everyone in at least that aspect, and then so that they can learn from each other on how to better communicate, because that's super important. And even people who didn't contribute as much to the coding process, like the team, like some people were really good at coding, and they would actually be super open to helping other people who wanted to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like the best part about having a group of people to work with who are also very good at what they do, and you guys can learn from each other.
Yeah, I feel like in Incubate Nepal thing, you have to seek for opportunity, and there are a lot, okay? Because we are not just centered एउटा मात्र project मा काम गर्नलाई. We could have that opportunity to work on several projects. So inside the project पनि you might be assigned with one work, but you are open to work अरूको काम पनि help गरिदिनु or to contribute to their work. So opportunities seek गर्यो भने चाहिँ Incubate Nepal would really add on to your growth. So those whoever are applying this year, and if you get selected, I would suggest to like grab every little opportunity that you'll get, and you'll do wonders.
Exactly.
Agree.
Yeah, I'd like to add एउटा कुरा, like Incubate नेपालमा चाहिँ आएर like we're not just trying to add on to the things that we already know. Banally, if I'm good with like research, let's say, I'm not just trying to be better at research. Like okay, Incubate नेपालमा आएर I can learn research, but I can learn more things as well. Okay, भनेको the things or the skills that I learn from Incubate Nepal will depend on how involved I am with the project and how open I am learning to other things that the project can give us.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. So like Incubate नेपालमा चाहिँ already like प्रोग्रामिङ खतरा गर्न आउने मान्छेले ल्याएर खतरा एप बनाउनु is not just a goal. Okay? Maybe like what would be a better के भन्ने like better vision of Incubate Nepal is someone who is already good at coding. They make an app, they make a good app, तर along with that, they also like teach coding basics to their friends that are not त्यस्तो experienced with coding. So there's like multiple layers of learning with everyone.
Right. Yeah. I think if someone's, really good at, let's say, coding, then they can do that themselves, right? Like you don't really need Incubate Nepal even to do that. But I think, what you do get out of it is really being able to learn from other people, and also be really fulfilled in building something together as a team. There are so many intangibles that you really do get to learn by working on a team, in a project with a deadline where you do need to present. Yeah, like a lot of these factors, I think, yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities even in the US. Like it's hard to find these type of opportunities
Hazır.
for students who are in high school. Yeah, and I think these type of skills will be extremely valuable, especially when you go to college.
I think like we've come to
Yeah.
almost an end of our podcast, but I would like to end today's
Hmm.
conversation with a question to you. Like, uh, you've अब नेपालमा बसेको स्टुडेन्टहरूलाई त to hear that a Nepali is a software engineer at Microsoft is such a um, big deal जस्तो कि माइक्रोसफ्ट बिल गेट्स भनेर इट्स अलरेडी देयर होइन अनि टु हियर सफ्टवेयर इन्जिनियर छ बिल गेट्सको कम्पनीमा एन्ड एउटा नेपाली सो इट्स अ मोमेन्ट अफ प्राउड जस्तै सो द्याट अल्सो टुक अ लट अफ थिङ्स इन यर लाइफ नि त यु ह्याड टु गो थ्रु अ लट अफ थिङ्स यु ह्याड टु practice a lot of things in your life. So, what exactly did it take to become the Sisam Bhandari at software engineer at Microsoft that you are today? What really
Hmm.
worked on for you? What it didn't?
Yeah, I think that's a very deep question. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I think everyone has their own journey. Not we don't want like everyone to just do the same thing. I think you should really follow what you think is the best for you. Um, don't just do something because I think it would maybe be convenient for other people. Um, but if you also align in that goal, I think then yeah, like you should totally, you know, follow like what you really want to do. Yeah, and the journey for that is not always easy. Like just because you like something doesn't mean it's not hard. Um, for me, I think yeah, there were lots of like moments, especially in college, where it was really hard. Even applying to college was really hard. It's funny because I always wanted to go to Stanford. That was my dream school for like I don't know
Hazır.
since I was a kid. And then I got rejected by Stanford. But then I got into MIT, and I always wanted to live in California, and then I got rejected, but it didn't work out. But like looking back on it now, I think
Hmm.
MIT was probably like a much better fit for me, just based on the friends that I've made from MIT. Like, a lot of these friends are the ones who started Incubate Nepal in the first place. So like I'd say it
Hazır.
all works out. Um, yeah, don't get too stressed about some things not going your way. Um,
Hmm.
like there are lots of different paths to get to the same goal. You don't need to just do the exact same steps that I have done or someone else has done. Um, yeah, you can get there in your own way. And yeah, in college, like yeah, some classes were not that easy, and I was like, "Ooh, is this what
Hmm.
like I'm gonna have to do when is this gonna be like an everyday thing for me when
Hmm.
I graduate?" And then but it wasn't. It was like something I don't even hear about. So just yeah, I think learning from every opportunity, learning from every class, even if you don't like it, yeah, um, yeah, just like um, yeah, having a reason for why you're doing things, I think really gets you um, through a lot of the hardships. I think
Hazır.
that's really what's gotten me to become who I am now. Although I don't know, I haven't done much. I just basically went to college and have a job. That's it.
Mhm.
Um, there's there's so many people who've done way more. Um,
No matter
yeah,
how much we do, there are always people who've done more than us. So
of
it's
course,
like
yeah.
it's just there के जति गरे पनि आफूभन्दा धेरै गर्ने मान्छे त will be there in our life. But where you've reached is a lot. Got to consider that as a good point.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. And you don't need to do like everything
Mm.
Yeah,
that other
true.
people have done. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting conversation we had today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
thank you.
really interesting, Dilly. Like,
You guys
I
had some
really
good
enjoyed.
questions.
Yeah, not just that, the overall conversation it flowed really well.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I
think
overall a
really
good
enjoyed it.
conversation as a.